Hello, this is Juliet and Stephen from OpenSquare, and in today's video we're talking about a question we've received from an IT leader, which is we're currently running through an Agile transformation, or we're implementing Agile, and I'd like to know how HR can help us on that journey more. So I've seen this a few times, or at least just a bit of context perhaps to explain a number of Agile initiatives, whether it be trying some Scrum or whatever that thing might be, comes into an organisation at a technical team level. They try to do something, and then inevitably they start to meet some challenges elsewhere in the organisation when, because we've perhaps started this in one little corner of an organisation, we might meet some challenges. Depending on the kind of people, operations or HR team that you've got, that can be they can really definitely help to amplify and increase the pace and the impact of an Agile transformation. Unfortunately, they also hold some of the keys that can slow things down in experience too. So the context is, and it'd be lovely in this case if the question is coming from HR asking what can we do to help more, or whether or not this is something about how can I influence HR. But either way, we'll cover that kind of space. Okay?
Okay.
So I guess where do we start with this one? If we talk about agility full stop, the aim of Agile of any flavour is about achieving value and getting somewhere in a world or in a context which is complex, changing, uncertain, all of those phrases, where planning and heavy execution doesn't work. Instead you need to iterate and learn along the way to adapt. So we understand that bit. So my first thought, that immediately lends itself very heavily to coaching and to reflection and helping teams to be, to be reflective, to be vulnerable to the fact that they may not have got it all right. I would have thought many HR teams would have some coaching expertise already. Is that an immediate place where HR can help? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's quite a few areas, and starting with some facilitation and connecting people across an organisation, they'll be aware of, or they should be aware of, the experts that could help. So for example, in a particular team, if they're struggling with something, they'll go, hold on a minute, I know such and such over there, might be able to impart some knowledge or come and help you. So being able to facilitate cross-functional conversations and bringing experts in is a really good point, because they will be aware of the wider organisation skills. Certainly around coaching and personal development, being able to help support particular individuals or even teams. But I think probably because there's quite a lot of teamwork going on in the Agile transformation, I think the support would be much more directly with the leadership teams or a particular team member to helping them break through some fears, some barriers, encouragement, all those types of things. There's lots of tools that you can call upon. I think one of the other things that strikes me when you're going through change and transformation on a large scale, being able to identify what skills gaps you're missing so can help with hiring. So if you see, and quite often teams on the ground in the middle of that transformation may go, oh, I wish we had such and such, but they won't do anything about it. Whereas someone in your HR team who's used to spotting some of those gaps in succession planning or otherwise will be able to go, okay, well, we've got a vacancy and it's in this area. I think we'll probably be able to find someone in those skills. So, there are so many ways that HR can add some value to it.
I think that's the thing that I've been thinking, especially since you've been talking about that there's often such a misapprehension about HR, and perhaps sometimes this is deserved, but there are two kind of types of team. There's one team which is, it's all about policies, we wheel you out when we've got an ER issue and we want to sack somebody, or somebody's been nice or been nasty to me, so take me for a cup of coffee and console me. Those kind of... That's not where HR will add value in this space. Where they have immense potential is in the structural stuff that sits underneath whatever this transformation might be. So if you think that HR are responsible for people policies and performance management, just as one great example, if they're responsible for the policy around performance management, and in your organisation you want people to be more innovative and come up with ideas, does the performance management system that you've got right now support that? Or is it all about completing tasks and ticking boxes? If it's the latter, if that's that box tick stuff, HR can significantly impact the transformation by helping to shift thinking in that stuff.
Mm.
They certainly don't need to get into the depths of understanding the detail of Scrum. They don't need to learn to code. I mean, it's all cool stuff that they could be doing. But there are so many things outside of an Agile team that, as you say, they could influence.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any role. You don't have to be an expert in everything.
None of us are.
What you are is you've got some experience in what you can bring to the table. You know, if you think of collaborative and wider teams, it's not just a team of engineers or tech leads or coders or whatever it is. It's a blended team to bring that thinking, and I think it's really important to have someone outside of that Agile transformation, if you like, it's outside of that immediate team that can bring a different perspective. That said, though, it's not always welcome. I've been in situations where I'm going, why are you asking that question? Actually, because it's really interesting. I'm fascinated about how I've got a vested interest in where the business is going.
Yeah, quite.
But also, how can I help? How can I help you in this transformation? How can I help you and your teams? And if you've got people in HR otherwise who want to help you, I would never turn it away. I think it's really good to get other people's thinking. But yes, certainly the obvious places are coaching and personal development and having a sounding board. So if you've got an individual or a leader that's having particularly challenging communication or performance issues, then you want to be that sounding board with that, almost like partnering with that leader to help them move forward.
Yeah, it's such an interesting balance. I know what happens. I've seen it so many times. If you put an HR person in the middle of a team, and what's everybody thinking?
Ooh, it's HR.
Right, it's awful, isn't it?
It's awful.
It really is awful, because we're talking about, you've got a team of people that are either going to be thinking they're going to be sacked, or you're looking for the weak one in the pack to cull, and all that sort of thing, or you've got another, they can't bring any value to this conversation at all, and yet the success of an Agile transformation is 100% to do with the attitudes of the people.
People are going to transform your organisation.
So how can HR help? Treat them as a partner, and I like that word, treat them as a partner in the transformation. Make sure that they have some clarity in what they can do, and then if they've got the mandate to be able to do that in the organisation, what you can't have is, also what you can't have, what will disrupt any kind of change is when you've got the core structural people processes of an organisation going in a different direction to that which you want to. So I would start there. Surveys, perhaps, is the last thing I was going to say. There's some independence in being able to get some feedback from people.
Yeah, because you can. Well, it's all about facilitation. So whether you're facilitating communication, team meetings, or surveys, you can do that and centrally coordinate it, and then give a neutral standpoint and feedback. But if you're a HR person thinking, how can I influence? I think be different. Don't leave your policy and process book in the cupboard, and just go in and start talking to people, finding out what they do and offering some support if they want it. But just be centred to that team. Be brave.
Yeah. Very much so, very much so. By all means, for the person that asked this question, if you'd like to connect the HR team that you're working with us, we'll very happily give them some inspiration and some ideas as well. Yeah. Very pleased to do that. Thank you ever so much for watching the video. Hopefully there were some tips and some thoughts in there that you'll be able to use in your organisation, and indeed anyone else that was watching this video today. If you enjoyed this and you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click on the little bell to be notified when we add new videos. We try to do that at least on a weekly basis to the channel. And we look forward to seeing you very soon on our next video. Take care. All the best.
Thank you.